حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. Today we called upon members of the Muslim community to come out here to perform the Friday sermon specifically in solidarity and also in expressing one of the main pillars within Islamic ethical teachings, which is the concept of justice. Because it's important when individuals who come out and stand in front of injustice, those who speak truth to power, those who are dispossessed, those who have really been turned out from their homes and lands and their properties and jobs, when they come out to the streets, when they come out to call for justice, those who have an understanding of spiritual path, those who have religious teachings should respond and come out to express solidarity. In the Quran, there is a verse that is very important when we reflect upon it. That the Quran says that إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى. That Allah commands to justice. That Allah commands to justice. And also command to that which is best of conduct. As well as to extend the bonds of relationship to next of kin. Now we often, when we think of religion, we have this delusion of thinking of religions as being buildings and monasteries and all kinds of institutions, and not thinking that at the root of religious education and at the root of religion is the concept of justice. Even though sometimes we get caught in the institutional framework, we tend to forget that every religious figure in the history that we read, from Abraham to Moses to Jesus to Muhammad, every prophet and every religious figure has come to speak truth to power. And it is that reason that often these figures have been opposed by their society and their communities. It's always as a single individual standing in the face of the group. And we see the dynamics that took place throughout history. The challenge for us is to take these lessons and not to actually go with those who manifest the status quo, but rather those who speak truth to power to change the conditions. Now, anyone who have at least a basic understanding of what took place, understand that we have a very systematic oppression that is taking place. We have systematic economic oppression. We have systematic political oppression. We have systematic turning away against the human being as a human being. And we need to think of it in a broader global sense. It's important today to say that Muslims in Egypt started the Friday prayer in Tahrir Square and marched to the US Embassy to protest what took place in Oakland. Similarly, those in Yemen who are protesting against Ali Abdullah Saleh likewise raised the statements about Oakland. Similarly, those in Syria who are protesting likewise raised the Oakland. So you have a transnational movement that is beginning to realize that there is something fundamentally wrong that has to be changed. Now, some say that we don't want class warfare. But there's been class warfare all along. The rich have been having a class warfare against us all. It is only when you begin to challenge the paradigm that begin to say to you, oh, we don't want class warfare. It's the same thing that they said to Jesus when he wanted to kick out the money changers from the temple. Meaning that class warfare has been set against the 99%. by the 1%. All indications point to this. All indications point to this shifting, constant shifting of resources, and when they get stuck with the mess that they created, they ask the 99% to bail them out. Right? They ask the 99% to bail out those 1%, right, that have wreaked havoc in the economy, wreaked havoc in people's life. And more so, they actually point out and they ask, or they said to, there are fools who are buying houses without down payments. There were fools that were getting houses without any resources. There were fools that were getting 1 or 2 houses, and therefore they are the ones that created the bubble. But let us think about it a little bit more. Who is the fool? If a poor person is given a possibility of buying a house where a banker says, here, you could get a house without a down payment, do we blame the poor person as the fool, or the person who was selling him the house because he knows he's going to sell it to someone else? He's going to sell it to another person and another person. And not only that, but actually he's going to go and have an insurance policy against that loan, package it as an investment called derivatives. I don't know what the derivative is. None of us know what the derivative is. You go to an African American, to Latino, or somebody in the middle class, say, you know what, buy this house because it's a derivative. They're going to sell it to the Chinese or the Arabs or someone else, and we're going to put it in Wall Street. Then when everything collapsed, they go after that poor guy. It is you who caused the problem. It is you who actually caused this bubble. It is you that needs to be kicked out of your house. But every time the government goes and bail out the same bankers, the same elite, the same individual that sold out this house to this individual, and they go back and buy these houses and once again sell it again and again and again and make more money in this process. So we have to understand that this is a rotten economic system that we are living in today. It favors the rich over the poor. It constantly gives more to the rich at the expense of the poor. It takes resources from the bottom to those who are on top. Now, just this last week, right, I was reading in U.S. news that 50% of the American working class makes an average of $26,000 plus. 50% of the American public, the working public, makes $26,000 plus and few fractions. That's 50%. Another group, 36%, makes about the average, which is about $46,000. Meaning if you take all the middle class and all the lower up collectively, they're not making ends meet. And you know, if you're living in the Bay Area, 46,000 actually does not qualify you to be on the poverty line, because the poverty line in the state of California, especially in the Bay Area, would be close to 65,000. Right? So we need to understand this process, this economic process. Religion is not only about praying, which is important, it's also manifesting justice. It's actually acting in a just way. I know that increasingly we think of justice as the 10, 12-step program to success. How to become better capitalists through religion. How to actually manifest. That's all what you call religion selling out to corporate structure. Selling out to become part of corporatization of religion. Corporatization of the symbols of a spirituality that always have spoken truth to justice. And if you think, if Moses, Muhammad, and Jesus come today, would they be a CEO or would they be here in tents with the people protesting? That is the question.